how do you avoid creating, the so-called trust babies, kids who are, the succeeding generations of the wealth creators who become wedded to living off of a trust, who don't really sort of realize their full potential? How do you avoid that when you're passing on wealth and trying to, leave this legacy for your family?
So Adam, I think that's actually one of the biggest fears that our clients have is I don't want to create a trust baby. And so someone that lives off that. And so I think the disconnect is we say these things, but we don't take action to address them. And so to the extent that we're bringing in family governance and talk about as a family unit, how do you solve for that equation? And so we leave it a chance quite often. So we assume the best outcome is going to happen, but we have to be purposeful about sustaining wealth and wealth transfer. And so we have to have a dialogue with not only the parents, but also with the kids in terms of how do you avoid that scenario? Because what oftentimes we see, particularly in will-based plans, where we haven't had a dialogue, or you haven't had a dialogue with your wealth manager perhaps, and so the trust is only coming to existence whenever someone passes away. And so we want to make sure.
And let's identify for our listeners, when we say that means that the earning generation died. And so you're really starting this process after the first generation dies. That's a different world. And I just want the listeners to understand that.
Thank you, Greg. And so that's a very good point. And so we want to make certain we have that dialogue earlier in the process. We don't want to assume that we're going to start that, because money is something that is sometimes taboo, and people don't want to talk about it. And so we got to be willing to commit to putting all our cards on the table and having a dialogue up front. And what we've seen in some of our research is that most of these things that derail the family wealth transfer is around communication. And so it's like any other relationship. We've got to have this dialogue about what our money means to us as a family, and we not be hoarding all our cards to ourselves and not having that dialogue.